Homecoming tailgate.
Got it.
Oh, you got it. We're live.
We're live.
So there'll be a tailgate party on October 8th. It's
For what?
Saturday. For homecoming.
Oh, college?
I still don't really understand what homecoming is.
You guys didn't have a homecoming?
No. Like, what is it?
I don't know. I guess it's when they have their first string of away games. They always pick a game. I don't know what it originally used to be, but in high school we always picked the homecoming game against the team we knew we could beat because, you know, you have a party and you're like, hey, we're good. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't see that happening, but
I don't know. But is it for the college or for high school homecoming?
no, it's the MSU end.
Huh.
So there's a homecoming. Starts at 10:30 a.m.
They probably do all kinds of things like a car smash and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Oh, just haven't seen it.
Oh, at least if they do that, I hope that it's
Oh, they buy an old junker car
Yeah.
and then they smash it.
not just somebody.
They
else.
spray paint the name of the team that they're playing on it and beat the crap out of it with a hammer.
America is so violent.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that.
We're not the only one. I never did it, but
Got karaoke at the Tippet. Happens fairly often as well. Looks like Thursday, Wednesdays, Saturdays.
you know what I want to see?
What?
Karaoke bar without alcohol in it.
I'd be there.
I know, you'd be the only one.
Well, I messaged Hunter.
Oh.
And said some interesting comments, and his response was, "Who's this?" The pumpkin patch is happening on the 21st, but that's a ways away. So looks like there's not much happening,
What's happening?
at least on the events page. I don't have a newspaper, so I can't use that.
Excuses.
I know. I failed at my job this morning.
That's okay.
So what's new? What's happening?
What's happening? Check it out. So this is some horrible news.
What?
I'm going to open it up so I can read it. In Indonesia, at least, at least 125 fans killed in a stampede at a soccer game. These people are nuts about soccer.
Okay, well, first off, my brain, for some reason, was like a rampage of bulls
No.
got released.
They were stampeded by people.
Huh. Was that because the team lost, or when they were charging the field?
God, it won't let me open the story to read it.
Sometimes when I hear you talk about the technology stuff, I'm reminded about how much older than me you are.
A year?
Yeah, that's forever.
It's fine. I got the internet. After police fire tear gas causing chaotic. See, this is another place where people I get police officers are trying to calm things down, but sometimes you just make things worse. If you stumble upon a beehive and you actually step on it, the last thing you want to do is step on it again, because then it just makes it even. So if they're like, oh, these people are going crazy, let's throw tear gas out there.
I was always taught if you stepped on a beehive,
Run.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Or run.
Isn't that what you do? Stop, drop,
That's
and roll.
fire. I don't know. Anyway, causing chaotic scenes where fans were trampled upon and suffocated, making one of the deadliest sports events in history. It's not even the most deadly sporting event in history. I want to know what the most deadly sporting event in history was.
Let's figure that out.
I know a soccer stadium collapsed with people in it once.
So the most deadly sport incident?
Mm-hmm.
The
The death toll was previously confirmed to be 174, but local authorities reduced the number, saying some victims were counted twice. Like,
why did they count them twice? Usually they
probably when you got more than one person counting, they're like, "Oh no, I counted that person."
they're supposed to tag them.
I don't know, man. I'm not there. I'm still trying to figure out, like, why. And here's the thing: like, it's not the first time a lot of people have been killed in soccer matches. Apparently, it's a common thing. The World Cup in 1996 in Guatemala, Costa Rica, over 80 died and 100 more were injured. Like, people are crazy about soccer.
Yeah.
It is the world's most popular sport.
But yeah, I mean, it's even getting bigger over here too.
Well, we're actually kind of good at it. Like, there for the longest time, we just get deportation award. Thank you, USA, for coming. And then we started, winning. So, yeah. But I mean, you go down to, like, especially in South America, I know it's crazy down there. It's huge in Europe. I don't know. Have you ever seen I can only imagine. I've seen what American bars look like when football game is on, but can you imagine going into a pub over in, like, England when some of the bigger soccer teams are playing against each other?
No.
It's like a Canadian bar when, like, two Canadian teams are playing each other.
Oh man, I just found like a top 10. I don't know if it's gonna have the main things, but number 10 is an entire soccer team was killed on the field.
By lightning strike?
It's one of those weird websites. You'll get a little blur, right?
Oh.
But yeah, it looks like 11 members and 30 spectators on the sidelines from a lightning bolt that hit the field.
Yeah.
And caused electricity.
Lightning is brutal, man.
Yeah.
Violence broke out. Oh, this is where it is. Violence broke out after the game ended because someone had lost. Disappointed with their team's loss, thousands of supporters reacted by throwing bottles and objects at players and soccer officials. Like, this is what drives. I love sports. I absolutely love sports. I can't, for the life of me, figure out why people let the outcome of a sporting event ruin their day.
I'm good there.
It's a game. And you'll be there again.
Yeah.
And again, and again.
I get over it after that day.
There are people who hold on to this stuff for weeks.
I see the bonus with the sport that I watch is when that happens, it's usually bedtime.
Yeah, and they play in 2 days. They play again in 2 days.
Well, not if it's the playoffs and it's the last game. That's the only time I get upset.
It's the last game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But what if they're tied 2-2 in a series? They're going to have another game.
Well, that's okay. But, I mean, I'm going to be honest. There's been times where I've taken the jersey, thrown it on the ground, and then 5 minutes later picked it up and apologized to it.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't mean to.
What's
So, I guess this is just like the
weirdest deaths at a sporting event?
Well, like the craziest ones. So not like the most deadly, but the craziest of what happened.
Right.
And apparently there was a soccer player that scored a goal and did a backflip and broke his neck.
Didn't land it, huh?
Nope.
I know one of my favorite football players. He played for my team in college. He scored a touchdown. And no one was going to catch him, so he did that Superman dive over the goal line while he landed funny and broke his collarbone. It's just one of those things you're like,
Oh, man. I guess they did a survey. Well, not a survey, a study. And a survey. And they found that for every 100,000 football players, well, soccer players, 7 died due to cardiac arrest.
it has to be the world's most deadly sport. People get on combat sports and contact sports. Soccer has got to be one of the worst.
Wow. Yep.
I mean, that's crazy.
Oh, I don't even want to.
No. Yeah.
Oh, these are all depressing now.
Right? So, along the same lines, like nobody died, but another thing that irks me, we grew up in the time, you and I, towards the end of it mostly though, where when you were a kid and you got injured, the coach like, hey, you're hurt, but are you okay? You can go back in, right? You're fine, right?
Oh, that's happened a lot.
Right? We get away from that nowadays. We're starting, you and I are especially like, why don't we, like, why? Especially in kids sports.
Well,
But even in pro sports, you're ingrained with that tough. You got to be tough. You got to go out there and play for your team, do it all.
so I mean, even now, when I play, like I remember I was down in Lewistown playing in Turbin, and I skated, and my skate went one way, and I was going the other, and I felt a pop in my groin. I was like, oh no, oh no! So I just skated off, and every single person on the bench was like, get back in there. What are you doing? And I was like, I know better now.
But 10 years ago, you're like, I'm in. I'm done.
Oh, yeah,
I'm playing. You'd skate on one leg. But on Thursday night, this is the things that make me sick. On Thursday night, there was a game between the Miami Dolphins and I can't remember who they played.
Some team.
Anyway, the quarterback for the Dolphins is a pretty big deal. He's trying to play for a contract. He gets slammed down and his head smacks the turf and he loses his consciousness. And you've probably seen it in hockey. You may have seen it in hockey. You ever see knockout, lockout? Where a guy gets knocked out so bad, his fingers lock up and they just kind of bend weird.
Oh no!
I've seen
got gloves on.
But I've seen it. I've seen it in football and sports where you just take a big, and that's how you know a dude is unconscious, right? Because the whole body just tenses up. Well, that happened to him after he slammed his head on the ground. That's not the problem that I have. The problem I have is 4 days earlier, last Sunday, he gets knocked down on the ground, smacks his head. He smacked his head off the turf. And when he went to get up, he did the whole, like, you've seen a guy who's had his marbles shook, right? And they fall down. And he did it like 3 times. And he's shaking his head. And you have to go to the medical tent in the NFL to get checked out for concussion. The doctor cleared him of not having a concussion. They said it was his back. First of all, he never reached for his back. And he wobbled when he walked. So under the NFL's current concussion protocol, if you have a concussion, you are out until you pass all the protocols, which usually takes at least 10 days. You have to pass a whole bunch of tests. But the doctor said he was cool. So he went back into that game and finished last Sunday's game. Now, I do know that when you suffered one concussion, it is far easier to get one, especially when you play 4 days later and you get slammed on in your head. Like, we are so ingrained with winning that we just don't even – they played the Bengals. And the Dolphins ended up losing that game.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what that means. But anyway, everybody on the radio knows. But
I'm sure
like,
they do.
Putting this health and safety of a player over your wins and losses. And at the end of the day, I realize that these are $1 million corporations, literally. Each football team is its own business.
Well, I mean, so I've been watching those they're kind of like TikTok things randomly when I'm going to the bathroom. It's like main time to watch it. And football stuff comes up a lot because of where it knows that I'm at, which to me is the bathroom. But I've noticed, so in hockey, we've been teaching kids and even the adults now that are playing in the NHL. Like, can you tell me the last time you saw a huge hit?
At like a game we play?
Or like just even on the NHL, like a massive hit that you go, oh!
No, and most of them are penalties, though.
Yeah, right. So most of the time, though, you see a hit, and it's usually just, you can tell the guy slowed down before he hit him, or he attempted to. And the ones that are bad is where they both weren't looking.
Mm-hmm.
But I was noticing it of all the videos I watch, and it shows like the big hits that everyone cheers at. It is a kid, and it's a kid. It is an adult. It's a kid catching a ball, and as he catches it, a guy is full on hitting him as hard as he possibly
That's a penalty in the NFL. And in college, it's targeting is what it's called.
But the thing is it's still people cheer for it.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, in NHL now you can hear them when there's a big hit. It's like, oh, and then there's no applause after. Mm-hmm. Especially like I hate it when you see like I watched one recently where a kid got hit. The kid's like unconscious on the field, and the other kid's over top of him. It's all
so when you played hockey for what, 15, 20 years?
Oh, I've played since I was 4. So
But I mean, like competitively, like through your leagues and all that stuff. Not like the last few years. We have kind of like
my adult years as much competitive.
right.
Contact hockey.
Full on, full check contact hockey. You played for what? 10 or 15 years. You ever had your bell rung real bad?
Yep.
Should you have played after that?
Um,
Like looking at it now, if you seen your daughter go out and get hit like you did and you knew you had your bell rung, would you let her play?
Probably not. No.
But you did.
I did, yeah.
Right? And we had that mentality growing up as kids. That's just what you did. Like you were, especially if you were one of the better players on the team. If you were the bench warmer and for some reason you were out there for your 30 seconds that they had to play you and you got your bell rung, like, oh, well, he's not playing anymore today anyway. Right now, we have a rule in all levels of hockey. The minute you hit your head on the ice, you're done for the day. We don't care if you can prove you don't have a concussion, your head doesn't hurt. We don't care.
Well, the thing on that, though, is that's still on the ruling of the coach.
And that's what drove me nuts. I'm going to show you this play, and it'll replay it. You're going to see what happened to the dude. You'll see him in a second.
Is this the NFL?
Yeah, that's when in the very beginning. And when he gets knocked down, his head cracks the ground, and you watch him try and get up. And tell me that's a back injury. What part of that is a back injury?
Yeah.
Yeah, that he got his bell rung, right?
Yeah, because he probably got some whiplash
and slammed his head to the ground.
Well, he can't even stand.
Yeah, and he's like, "It's my back." I mean, I've played enough sports to know that's not a back injury. And then
I think it's like that hard thing because I mean, when I was coaching, I had a kid that got smoked, and I was looking at him and I was like, no. I was like, you're done for the day.
I tell that when we're gonna start hockey in about 2 weeks. You hit and we want to protect all the adults the best we can. If you fall down and your head hits the ice, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
Right? You're 40 years old. You're not going out to win a Stanley Cup here. And even if you were, I wouldn't let you continue anyway.
Well, it's so weird because I mean, when I had that kid that did that, I told him he was done. And I was coaching by myself, and all I remember was I was dealing with something else at the other end of the bench. And one of the kids is like, Barry, he went back on the ice. I was like, are you? I was so
right. We are so, and especially in pros, we are so concerned about making the almighty dollar. You know, your big name players have to be playing. Well, why if they're injured or hurt?
Yeah, the thing too is that those guys, you don't get money taken away if you're injured and can't play.
Yeah. Well,
like they have sick days or whatever, but at least in the NHL, if you're actually injured, they can't dock your pay.
No, right. And it depends on your contract level too, though, for a lot of things. Like if you're like Sidney Crosby or those guys, definitely. But the guys that just got called up that night, that might be the only hockey game they ever play. They're getting paid one game check. That's it. So if they get out hurt, that's it. But this is the other hit that happened to him on Monday. It's like it's one of the nastiest looking things I've ever seen. And you just watch his hands like claw. It's crazy.
Oh man, they look like they're broken.
Right? And it's called knockout lockout. I've seen it before when a guy really gets his bell rung. But you can't tell me that 4 days earlier, whacking your head off the ground, making your brain swell, and then having that.
I know that you really love the sport. There's a lot of listeners that love this sport.
Oh, it's one of the most dangerous sports you could play.
I just can't handle the after hitting somebody that hard, the celebration and like chest bumps that you do.
Well, we'll look at it in hockey back in the old days when they played the hardcore style, when they would do that too. They would literally pick a fight just to keep a guy from hitting Wayne Gretzky.
Even in those days, if you go back and you see when somebody got injured, so they'd hit and do a big hit.
Oh, you'll see them. They all take a knee because that guy didn't know he was injured. But they all literally, all the teams are surrounded with on a knee and all that because he didn't know he was injured. He just thought he made a play.
Oh, I don't know.
Because, I mean, I've seen it at the beginning of a hockey game where two teams literally line up and they all look at each other and go, we're dropping the whole teams. And they all drop gloves.
That's
like,
just a set of messages. They have beers afterwards.
Right? They literally punch their faces in.
One of my favorite things to do in sports, and that's why I hope it's still like this in most places, is I have played against teams that I literally hated them on the ice. And then when it's over, you would think that we were on the same team, no matter what the outcome was.
What are your feelings towards Boston?
Boston?
Mhm.
Boston Bruins?
Mhm.
Well, I can't say.
Why?
Because they're jerks.
Is that because they tend to pick on Toronto a little bit?
Well, they usually have one guy that I hope is retired. I don't even know. He's not a very nice guy. And as Canadians, we prefer nice hockey.
Anyway.
Yeah, I like hits. Like I do like them, but I think I'm at the point where I just like any kind.
You like giving a hit. You don't like receiving one.
Yeah, but even watching. Like if I'm watching, I like seeing a clean hit, but that's what I like. I like the clean hits. So I also like hits where you can tell the guy went in, he slowed down, controlled himself, hit the guy still falls over, and then the play goes
Well,
on.
and you can tell when they're targeting the head.
Yeah.
Like if you're making a good solid body, and I have news for some of the adults in the adult hockey league. They don't know what body contact is. There's very small line between a body contact hit and checking.
Well, if there is anybody that is listening that is in the adult program, this year I will personally show them what checking is like if they would like.
Body contact is really close to it. I mean, the only difference is like on a check, you hit the ice. Someone usually either ends up into the boards or into the ice.
Yeah, because we play body contact, but we don't play body
checking. And there's a fine line between the two.
It really is, because I mean, like I could throw you into the boards, and if it's controlled, not from behind, and it's all that stuff, then it's considered body contact.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to get the puck, and I full on, literally hit you and only have contact with you for a few seconds, that's a check.
Right. So, moving on. Since your wife's probably mad because we ramble on about
Yeah,
sports.
she's probably fine with the
But
healthy side.
Boy 12 has his thriving business shut down because his grumpy neighbors complain. We have way too many Karens on this planet. Why can't people just leave people alone?
So, like, explain this. What was his?
So there's a kid. He lives in he lives in Coogee, Australia.
Okay.
And he set up a little business where he would sell drinks and sunscreen and bug spray to people who are apparently on this like walking trail that goes through.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
So it's like a lemonade stand.
Kinda, yeah, right? Well, his business got so good, he set up a card thing so people could pay with a card. Because it used to be just honor system where they grab a bottle of bug spray, drop in a $5, and you're gone.
Yeah.
Well, he apparently got so good at the business that apparently a Karen or two in his neighborhood, like, well, he doesn't have a business license. The kid's 12. He's smarter than you. Don't punish him for that. You know what I mean? It's like, well, he doesn't have a business insurance or anything like that. And the kid, 12, applied for business insurance and got turned down. But he's got 6,000 signatures from everybody around him other than the Karens that live in his neighborhood.
I always look at that as it's
Why do certain people have to feel the need that they see somebody who's excelling at something like, well, I got to put him down?
It's that need for power. And that's all it is. It has nothing.
He's 12.
They don't even think about that. They just look at it as if I can't control
This kid
X,
is going to be a future millionaire.
but right, if I can't control X, I'm going to control Y.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that we get with like people that abuse their spouses.
Right.
But it's like I can't control this in my life, so I'm going to control this.
He's selling drinks and bug spray, man, and sunscreen.
Yeah, I would.
How many times have you gone to the lake and went, "Oh crap, should have brought the bug spray," or "I forgot the sunscreen"?
And if I was the parent, I would be like, screw it. I would get a business license.
Like he's paying my bills.
Well, it sounds like he didn't even have to be there.
Well, at the beginning, he really didn't. They just kind of he had an honor system, and then, honor systems anymore, there aren't very many honorable people out there anymore. People are people.
I mean, if it was an adult, and they were starting to make it so there was a whole bunch of.
But even if
people
it's an
coming.
adult, like
But-
look at, but
I don't even know.
he's not cheating them out of the price. He's not charging them $30 for a thing of sunscreen, which nobody would buy anyway, so that wouldn't work. It's just a kid came up with a good idea, and somebody's like butthurt about it.
Yeah.
Because he's smarter than I. I have to work 9 to 5, and he works 2 hours a day and makes more money than I do. Well, it's because he's smarter than you,
I wish I was that smart.
right?
Instead, I do the radio for free.
Yeah, we do.
That's just because we're bored on a Sunday.
I'm not that bored.
What else would you do?
Hockey, and which is literally after after next Sunday, I won't be able to do the radio.
Why, Derek?
Hockey all day.
No, we have little blurbs of breaks.
I'm not coming in here after playing. No, it smells bad enough in here. Can you imagine me coming in here after being full geared goalie outfit?
Are you planning to be in your goalie outfit during the 1 o'clock?
No, but it's a good excuse.
Oh, okay. Because I don't even put equipment on for that.
No, I should though.
You should, yes.
I put I do sometimes. I put knee guards and hip guards on and a helmet.
You should put them all on, and you should do every drill with everybody.
I can't do every drill with everybody because then I can't talk because I'm too fat and out of shape to talk.
Well, it's fine if you're like, okay,
I think I'm gonna have a heart attack.
let's do lights.
Yeah.
Maybe I should come this year, and you could teach me how to play
How to play what?
hockey.
I don't know how to play hockey. So there wouldn't be a whole lot I could teach you.
Well, I did find a crazy thing in this sports injury kind of thing.
Sweet.
And it was, I guess, in 2014, there was a soccer player that was killed as he was leaving the field by being pelted in the head by a roof tile.
Because people take the game too serious. It's a game. I hate. You've been a part of hockey long enough to have been a part of a game where the refs made a terrible call and it changed the outcome of the game. And even at the end of the game, the refs know they were wrong, but they can't change that. But people get physical and throw things and, physically threaten their life and health, right?
Well, I can say, and a tip that I'll give to anybody that is a huge fan, there's one thing I know works perfectly fine, and it doesn't hurt people outside. And if you think your team's going to lose, just hold your breath
Until they
until
win.
they start winning.
Yeah.
And so, but if you start breathing, then they're going to lose. But if you hold your breath, eventually either A, you'll pass out and then just wake up and see.
We have, and I'm pretty sure this is at every sport, but we have a very strict, the minute you start and at all levels of sports, and especially in hockey. I know in pony football, they have it too. If the refs or any of the coaches hear you being vulgar or violent towards any of the players, coaches, refs, you are immediately escorted off, and the police will be called if you don't leave.
I hope that they enforce that a little bit more this year. There was a couple times when I've seen like the kids' games going on, and I mean, they're competitive, but I hear the coaches saying things that they shouldn't be saying.
Well, that's up to the other coaches and the parents. Be like, you know what?
But it's that fear. For some reason, people have the fear of being like, I don't want to be the one.
But that's how we were. And I'm not in no way or shape saying it's a good thing but when we were coached as kids, you got cussed out as a kid. Like
Certain points.
right? Like the coach would just start cussing out. There's no need for it.
No,
Until they
it doesn't make me play better.
No, it doesn't. At any level, like there's no need for it. Even as an adult, like what's
I
cussing
can
out
honestly
going to
say
do?
if I had a coach say like a bunch of swear words to me, I would play worse.
Oh, especially at the younger kid level, like peewees and bantam and whatever, like under the age of 15.
I think the best advice you can give to kids, even when they're doing poorly, is to give them actual advice.
Like when a kid makes a mistake, like, that's cool. You know what? You just learn what not to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It didn't work. Well, here's you'll never learn. I tell this to my daughter all the time, I'm like Aurora, because she gets mad when she screws up. I'm like, you'll never learn anything if you don't mess up a few times. In fact, it's better to mess up a bunch of times because then you'll learn all kinds of stuff.
What's a little more fun?
I should be the smartest man on the planet.
Well, you keep making that mistake. You'll learn it.
I'm still learning, right? I learned how not to do bathroom tiles. Because I look back now, I'm like, if I did it again, it would look way better because I know exactly what I did wrong the first time.
Yep.
But unfortunately, when you're doing tile, once it's there,
it's
there. So.
I mean, I thought it was fun.
Oh, everybody thinks it looks fine.
It's because you notice your own mistakes.
Oh yeah, right. But it drives me nuts and I hear it in the locker rooms from parents chewing. And I sit in little kid locker rooms like, you need to be doing this. I'm like, no, they're 10, they're 5, they're 8. Leave them alone. Are they smiling? That's all you're paying for right now.
Yeah. Look, you get somebody to watch it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Want something? You got to open the door.
What, you want me to open the door?
Uh-huh.
You can open
He has a question. You have the door.
You open the door.
You're next to the door.
You got time on the radio, though.
I'm talking.
What's up?
I just got rid of that flash drive out of the console.
Uh-oh. He knows more about the radio than we do. We don't know how that works.
You guys are crushing it. Have fun.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Check it out. Found a new story that isn't sports related. You're welcome, Sammy.
Ugh. I don't know how to talk about sports related.
Yeah, but it's about the government.
Are they spies? The reptiles.
Oh, that's deep. The CIA just invested in woolly mammoth resurrection technology. We're going Jurassic Park, man.
I'm liking it.
Right?
I'm just trying to picture in my head.
They just need to stop making those movies because they're awful.
They're either going to put a bunch of large men in woolly mammoth costumes or actually do this.
Their vision is to see the woolly mammoth thunder upon the tundra once again. And they actually think it can actually help the environment.
I don't know how it could, because I mean, you think about it right now, polar bears are starting to die off because there's not enough ice caps
Right.
anymore. And the woolly mammoth would have been around the same kind of style, right? They would rely on, because I mean, heck, they even come here during the summer. I just randomly was thinking, what if they're more violent than we think?
Well, they're big, gigantic, hairy elephants, right?
With tusks.
Right. Well, elephants have tusks.
Yeah, but I mean, big. They were like
Oh,
almost the
yeah.
length of the.
But well, they don't think that they actually went extinct on their own. We did it.
Yeah, but maybe we did it because they were like violent killing machines.
Didn't you watch that horrible movie 10,000 BC where the mammoths were dragging the blocks up the pyramids?
Yeah.
Oh, such a bad movie.
That's why they got killed off, because they started like,
Dragging them to the
they tried
desert?
to get a union together,
Right.
the woolly mammoth union.
But apparently they do something when they're up in the tundra that releases gases that are actually good for the ozone and stuff. And
How would they know that when we've never seen them?
I don't know. They're scientists, Barry. They're smarter than us. They went to school.
Scientists never really know. They always want to find out.
Well, it's better than resurrecting the T-Rex, which they did 5 times in those horrible Jurassic Park movies. They just need to stop making.
Well, maybe they should make a woolly mammoth.
Who thought that
T-Rex
was a good idea?
hybrid? I don't know. I could understand if you were like, hey, let's resurrect the dinosaurs. Let's resurrect the leaf-eating ones.
The ones that don't eat you. I can run away from the ones that might step on me, but I'm pretty sure those ones will just run away from me. They're like giant cows.
Now, I've always wondered if there was like a brontosaurus, because those were the big long necks.
One of the many, yeah.
Yeah, but if they actually walked really slow and we felt really fast to them.
That is actually how that works. The bigger you are, the slower you move. That's why ants look like they're moving so fast, right? They're not getting very far.
Yeah, but they can live 10 times. I can't live 10 times.
But an ant looks up at you and he's probably like, you're in slow-mo, dude. No wonder why I can outbeat you. Like that's weird the way that, but that, like you see it in like, even in movies, they do it on purpose. Because like when Ant-Man giants himself, he seems to move a lot.
Well, like the big question I would wonder is if something really big like our hand was to smack us, would it actually hurt as much?
Well, it comes down to mass. And I am not a physics guy.
go.
But I did hear like when you knock like a bug off of like the counter, think of how far that is for like a bug, right? That's a long way. But they get up and they crawl away. Why? They have no mass. So when they hit, they don't hit with that much force because they have no
How
mass.
many times have you full on flicked a bug as hard as you could? And
Well, that's because the mass of my finger destroyed it when I flicked it.
Yeah, but I mean, I've done it where you're like, bam, you hear it slam against the wall, and,
And it
it's
just-
like, oh, so you know,
Because it's got no mass. But you take something with the mass of us and hit it with that much force, there's a physics problem in there somewhere. Force plus mass, something.
So that's why every time.
Where's Casey?
Casey wouldn't know this. He just knows math, and math is fictional.
They make math, but if you take the same distance for a human that is for a bug, which is probably the top of this building, and drop you off of it, you ain't getting up and walking away.
Well, it depends if I can relax my body. There's been people that fell out of jumped out of airplanes.
If they lived, they didn't walk again.
I don't know. I didn't look past.
You got to do the superhero landing. Andy.
Going through my little research things here, did you know what the number one sport for death was?
Soccer.
Base jumping.
Well, go figure. You jump off a cliff and die.
Base jumping has more deaths per year than any other sport.
Yeah.
And that's miraculous kind of to me because
So-
they would have fewer numbers.
In 1913 or 1916, somewhere in there, back when football was in its earliest stages, there was something called the Flying V. Not the Flying
from
V.
the Mighty Ducks?
Not the Flying V. It's something V. It's the most deadly play in football's history. It was so deadly they had to outlaw it because it would literally. There were 22 people killed 1 year because of the move. What they would do is the player would catch the ball and then the team would formulate in a V, just like the Mighty Ducks did, except these are 200-pound men, and they would seek out the weakest person on the other team and trample them. And literally, because back then they didn't have first downs. They did, as long as you kept the ball until the other team took it for it. It was a lot like rugby. So what they would do is they would get this V formed and they would pick out the littlest guy or the weakest guy on the other team and head right at him and take out the other team strategically.
That'd be kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
It
why
didn't-
in the movie, The Mighty Ducks, they were like, let's do the flying V.
It's offside every time. They did it in the new season. Have you seen the new season of the Mighty Ducks?
I have not yet. There's so many stupid
They
shows.
pull out the flying V and they're offside again.
Well, there is one where if you watch it,
It's onside, but for the most part, when they do it in the neutral zone. And you're like, you can't.
I like the I think it's the second one. We're like, let's do it the flying V.
Oh, and the whole other team just.
And then that's a penalty itself because they hit every single player.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's interference, as I recall, isn't it?
Yes.
You can only hit the guy with the.
Puck. Yeah.
So, which makes me wonder, why would I ever want that thing?
Well, because then you could put it in the net.
No, I can't. Although I did score the world's slowest goal.
And sometimes it's all it takes. And Chad still hates that story.
No. In the Hellfreeze tournament, when you're like, where you saw Jerry's daughter reach for it, but she reached too quick.
Oh yeah, because you shot it so slow. She thought it was going to be faster.
It-
That's right.
that thing couldn't have been going more than
I think
3 miles an hour.
She's swiping it twice.
She missed it both times. I don't care. I'm like, I gotta go.
She was so bad.
Let
And
her-
that's where you learn that you let the puck come to you. Right? Because if she would have sat there and waited for it to come.
Hey, whatever works. I'm a master of the stand and palm puck stop.
I hate that. You don't do that when I shoot.
Huh? Because you don't put it on the ice between my feet moving like at half a mile an hour.
Oh.
Wow. So you were talking like you had so much time because you can't watch any of these shows. Why? Because you told me this morning you were watching playing video games all morning.
Well, I mean, the thing is I don't have any shows that I really watch without my wife. So we have shows that we watch together. So if one of us has time to watch something, the other one doesn't, and that's what's been happening lately.
Mm.
So, and I mean, even though I was playing video games this morning, it was probably not what I should have been doing. But I did paint a bunch today.
Oh, there you go.
So I am trying to do a night scene with a dragon destroying a town in it. So it's a new,
Lots of blacks and blues and some oranges, huh?
no black. I try not to use black unless I'm doing like cartoony stuff. So with
Blacks,
this
blues,
one,
blues, purples. Then,
I'm
huh?
using really dark blue to make it so that, because if you really think about it, when you're outside at night, you get that blue tint from the sky more than a black. People just assume it's black, but I mean, with light, when light reflects off a color, it actually reflects off that color.
That's how you see.
Yeah.
And colorblind people have it rough.
Yeah, man, I love those videos though with those glasses.
Yeah.
Where you see people.
They only work. The colorblind glasses work for certain types of colorblindness. I think there's some kinds of colorblind that you're just, because some people only see in shades of gray, which would really suck. And then there are people who are like red, green, and some other types where they get them backwards. And I think that's where the glasses work. Is it inverts it to where it's, you're not red green anymore, where reds are reds and greens are greens. It's like, how do you explain what blue is to somebody who can't see blue?
Well, it's water, except for not in Montana,
You know why? You know why the ocean looks blue?
because it's reflecting the sky.
Exactly. The ocean itself isn't blue.
But why is the sky blue?
That has to do with atmospheric pressure and stuff. So that's beyond my pay grade. It has something to do with all the gases up in the sky.
It's a reflection of the light of the water and through the gases in the air.
See, I was half right. I knew half of it. But why is grass green?
Why is grass green? I don't know. Mine's brown.
It's because you don't water it.
Well, when we had that,
Because
like,
if you water it, you have to mow it.
when we were like, when we had that like crazy warmth this year. Like it was really.
You mean the
warm.
summer?
Yeah. Like there was a lot of time where it was just crazy, and I was like, it's costing me like $150 to water my lawn.
To keep it alive.
Yeah. I was
And you
like,
have a tree.
I was like, why? Why? I don't want to keep wasting water if it's going to be like this.
This is coming from the guy who's going to have to fill, what, a couple hundred gallons in his backyard here in the next few weeks?
And
You're willing to do that, but you don't want to water your lawn?
yeah, but that I'm going to try to contain and then keep.
Hmm.
It's not like I'm going to.
Hopefully it gets cold enough soon to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna. We're buying a tarp to put in it. It's like $200 for this tarp that I need.
Jesus.
But we'll put a tarp down, and then I was thinking of just filling it a little bit, kind of see how the weather goes.
Nice. Yeah. What are you going to do? So you haven't watched any shows?
I still like. I'm trying to just think. I watch some anime. Those are like the only shows that I can watch where my wife doesn't want to watch them. See, like it's like my shirt. You'd have no idea what that is because you're not cultured.
I'm not cultured enough to know what that is, no. But I know it's anime. Now, what type of anime, I couldn't tell you.
It's just anime.
Well, like manga or...
Yeah, it would be a manga.
Right.
Manga's
Because
a book, though.
Well, because some people are like, Dragon Ball Z isn't manga, and I'm like, it's all anime. I don't know what it is.
They don't consider it manga because there's no books. There's like a... So when you go to look up a manga, if you type that in, it's going to take you to books. So if you're watching an anime, most like this one is based on a book. So like a comic.
But it does have an anime version of manga?
So
I am
this
so
show is just basically they took the book and turned it into a show.
confused.
So that's what they consider manga. And you know what? If anyone's listening and thinks that I'm wrong, you can't tell me I am. That's the way I've always looked at it. Do you have anything else for us? We've got 15 minutes.
Mysterious radio signal from deep space flashes Earth 2,000 times within 2 months.
So they got my signal from here.
Right.
What people don't know is you and I have a low pulsating sound that people can't hear we're constantly trying to reach
Did
the
you-
other limits.
Did you know that there's a conspiracy theory out there that says only certain people can get COVID because people vibrate at different frequencies?
Oh yeah, I vibrate at a way different density than you do.
Okay.
That's why when I tilt my head to the right just slightly, I can feel my body quiver.
Yeah. Yes, it is true that molecules and everything vibrate, but it's on such a scale you need some serious instrumentation to measure it. But yeah. I watched a video the other day, and I'm not going to get into too specific, but these people are like, I won't get COVID because I vibrate at a different frequency than the people who get it.
I honestly don't know. I think there's some things where it's like, like if you say that, then that means that it's the same thing with you getting a cold.
It is the same thing as getting a cold.
So it's like, I don't get sick.
In fact, you're more likely to get COVID than you are a cold because the COVID virus is as infectious, if not more, than the common cold, which is why they're like, we need to get this stuff locked down.
But so that's just the way that I just don't know why people get so, I'm just like butthurt over certain things. Like it's almost like
Because somebody told them to do it.
Yeah, but we talked about the sports stuff,
Right.
and it's the same thing. Like why do you put if you put as much effort as you did into complaining about political things or other things, if you put that effort into your family or your life,
Things you can control.
you would have a richer life.
Oh yeah.
But it seems like I'm at the point now, and I've talked with my wife about it, where I don't want to worry about dumb things anymore. Like, so if somebody says there's a virus and here's the vaccine, sure, whatever.
Well, here's like not your neighbor telling you this. It's like legit doctors are going, yeah, this is a pretty big deal. We should probably not your neighbor who's got a Facebook
For me,
education.
it's like, yeah, it would have to be like CDC.
And they did.
And that's just it.
And the world, whatever the world one is.
Well, a politician does not need an education to get where they are.
Most of them don't have one, in my opinion.
But then we want people like a plumber to have experience and education in plumbing to do our plumbing.
Unless I'm cheap.
And we want the people making our cars to know how to safely build them. But then for some reason, we don't want people that have an education in diseases to tell us what to do.
You don't know what you're talking about, dude. You study diseases. What do you know?
It bugs me. Because I look at the field that I'm in, and if somebody told me that I was doing something wrong and they had no idea what is involved in the process, I'm like, why am I going to listen to you?
Mm-hmm.
But if you were telling me about printing, I don't know much about printing. So if you told me something, even if I didn't believe it, I'd be like, well, he knows what printing is. I'll probably just do that. And then if it doesn't work, then I might complain.
Right?
But I would take your advice before I, just pooped all over it. And then
Then
if
poop all
something
over
went
it.
wrong after,
Then you poop all over it.
then I would have a more in-depth conversation with you.
Right.
But at the start, I wouldn't. Anybody that I think is did an education in the thing, I would listen to it and accept it until something.
And the funny thing about COVID is like 999 doctors out of 1,000 agree that this is a. Why are we listening to the one? That one guy got a D-. Right? There's a reason why he's the one.
I don't know. I just feel like whatever your view is, whatever. Even people that are like pro into it, we could complain about other things and focus on your family and your life, and if you put the effort that you put into complaining on Facebook about
Facebook, TikTok, whatever you're complaining on, you probably have a lot more things done around your house.
oh man, if somebody complains about something on Facebook or like TikTok or something, I just block them. I I don't even care.
Well, and let's face it, whose mind is it going to change?
It's not gonna change.
Has anything you've ever posted and somebody went on a rant about on the internet ever changed your mind about anything?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm very influential.
I'm talking like when you posted something and someone tried to change your mind.
Oh no. But for the most part, usually what ends up happening is I post something and then somebody says something that I don't even know why they thought it was relevant.
Right?
Right? Like I would post something and it'll be like, oh cool, I just did this new art project, and they'd be like, yeah, but it's not a football player. And I'm like, what's this have to do with it?
Right.
Like,
If you're talking hockey, I pay attention, but you're talking football, I don't know.
well, I think that's just what a lot of people do is, if somebody says, like, even if it's a political thing, somebody says something that's hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, well, no, that should happen. Nobody wants to hear that. I don't care.
Mm.
Ugh. Politics and stupidness.
Nothing leads to an argument quicker than politics and religion. And this is why you shouldn't try and change any. Like, why try and change someone's mind about either of them?
See, the one bonus that we have is we can't vote. So I can complain about politics and stuff like that, but in the end, I'm like, I can't vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, but the big issue is like, well, now everybody's so terrified of cheating and voter fraud and craziness. Ugh, drives me nuts. But I'm staying away from that. Speaking of cheating, my wife and I were reading a story. Well, it was a TikTok earlier. There was a walleye tournament. Don't know where it is. Don't care right now because it's not part of the story. Doesn't really matter. The second place team finished with like 16 pounds and some odd ounces of fish, right? And then the first place team, they weighed up 31 pounds. Like, wait a minute. This first team at first doubled the weight of everyone else's fish. The problem is all their fish are about the same size as everyone else's. Upon further investigation, these fish had somehow managed to swallow heavy weights. You can do that, and it does happen. Why would you shove that much weight into the fish?
Well, when you've been drinking fishing all day.
Right? And let's be honest, I mean, I'm going to say it. Rednecks are pretty hardcore about their fishing, man. You mess with the fishing tournament, it's going to go down.
Well, it was
there's a TikTok video, and these people are going crazy because these guys cheated. Well, here's what you do. They're out. Team 2, you win. And first, second, third, it continues on. You're no longer allowed to fish in any of our tournaments ever.
Yeah, but we need to murder people.
For cheating.
Like,
I'm going to gut you like I had to gut these fish to see these weights. Like, that's like, why do people feel the need to, like, everybody cheats, right? That's why there are rules to games. Every game has a rules because if not, well, everybody would do whatever it took to win.
Well, if you didn't have any rules, then there would be no cheating.
True. And it's only cheating if you get caught, right?
That's right.
But why do people feel the need to go to those lengths? Have to win.
It's that sense.
Maybe it's just me. I've never had a winning football team. I've never had a winning. I've never supported anybody that won anything. So
all right. Well,
I'm used to
honest, we play hockey.
Sort of.
Is it when we go to a tournament and we win a game? Doesn't have to be the tournament, but you win a game. It feels better than when you lose.
Oh yeah, but yeah, definitely.
So it's people that want that. I'm the best.
When I was a kid, it was far like up into my mid-20s. Like if you had met me in my mid-20s, competitive was like stupid. Like I would get mad competitive. Now I'm just too old for that. I'm like, I don't have the energy to get mad.
Well, that's it too. Like, I mean, I'm not huge in fishing, but I'm still pretty competitive. But I went to tournaments where we played against a team that was way better than us, and they played down, and I feel embarrassed.
I hate it when people do it.
Right. So I don't want to ever win by cheating, but I also, if I win, it's got to be because we deserved it.
I was playing high rec one night, and they were scoring on me. You guys, one team was a little more stacked than the other. They're like, you want to switch nights? I'm like, no. That's just who I am. I don't care that they're scoring on me.
Was that the old man team night?
No, I was skating out that night. How I ended up on that bench with you guys, and they're like, and then their solution was to send me to the other team. Like, that ain't gonna help.
We had We had like 2 people on our team that their ages together were more than the bench.
Right. Yours and my age together was more than the 8-man bench that the team had. And they couldn't figure out why they were out skating us. I got to save.
We held our own at the start.
I
We
wasn't
started getting tired.
even playing net, and I got a save. And Thomas is like, "Thank you." I'm like, "Good," because that puck wasn't coming in very fast. So I just stopped with my skate.
Really funny that night. He was like, why are all the old guys over here? Not one of them.
Yeah. Thomas, you're not that old yet, buddy.
It was funny though, because we were holding our own until we got tired.
Yeah, which took about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Those kids just wanted to skate too hard.
Well, it was so bad. Even you and I were like, "We're done. We're 25, 30 minutes in. We couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't skate anymore."
Well, all of us kept slowly leaving. And when that happened, that's when they started being like, oh, maybe we should.
Okay, I was 38 at the time. I was the youngest guy on the bench.
Yep.
No, you were
I was.
at 37.
And they had kids.
I'm looking at Dale and I'm looking at Ryan and I'm like, there's something off here.
I think the oldest one on that side was, what, 24?
Didn't Mason eventually come to our side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is, though.
Not 30. He might be 30 now.
No. I like playing competitively still, but for me, I guess it has to be. I don't think in town I'm ever gonna feel like I'm playing competitive again.
Well,
But if
the talent gap and the age gap are just so far apart.
I would love if we could get a good team from Havre to go to a high-end tournament somewhere in the state. Because I've been to one where it was really high-end, and we had to bring a mix, and we just got destroyed. But I could tell that if we had our best there, it would have been.
Oh, we got some good hockey players in this town. I know I've been scored on by almost all of them.
Yep. I mean, that being said, I've got my net set up. You almost spit that out.
It's not bad enough that you score on me all the time on the ice. You want to do it off the ice?
Well, you need to get better. And
You think that's going to get me back?
I need to get better at my insults.
My my outlook at it now is since I can't do it very well, I might as well just start teaching people.
Well, I like teaching people because
Well,
I feel like since we've started teaching some of the adults here, that they've started getting more confident.
I think a lot of it is confidence.
Well, because like we've seen it. If you just go out and play a sport, so we'll use football. If you've watched football and you understand the rules, it doesn't mean that when you go out you can just play it.
No.
So what we do is we teach them how to actually.
But our biggest issue is that, especially for me, is that I ask people all the time, because I'm at my kids' practice, I'm like, why aren't your parents out here playing? They can come out and play for free on Sundays, just learn the game. Learn the very concept that they're watching their kids do right now, so they have an understanding of what their kids are doing. And maybe they'll be like, you know what, it's pretty hard. I probably should be so hard on my kid. Why not come out and try it? And most of it's because I'm too old and I can't do it. And my first response is, I'm 38 and 39 now.
Do you not remember that guy that came out that I think he was like 70 something, and he said it was on his bucket list to learn to skate?
Right? And the world's oldest hockey player is over 100.
Yeah.
It's not hard on your joints or anything like that. It's actually pretty good for you. It's a good, healthy exercise. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I mean, when we show people the techniques of skating, the basics, I notice a huge, drastic change in their idea of skating.
Well, when people are like, oh, I know how to skate. No, do you know how to hockey skate? Well, no, I know how to skate. I go to open skate. That doesn't.
That's my favorite. I love it.
I've been to open skate. I'm so good.
I've been skating for 25 years. Oh, you play hockey? No, I've been skating around. I'd be like,
so you can go. You can turn left. You ever notice that people only go one direction in the hockey rink?
Yeah, I think that comes from the roller derby things too.
But they never go the other way. Like they don't just like everyone's like switch.
If you do,
oh, you guys all
everyone
kinds.
gets mad.
My biggest thing is I've always wanted to see that because most NASCAR tracks are circular.
Mhm.
Few of them are road track. Most are going. I'm like, I want to be the one car that goes the other way, just to liven it up a bit.
Oh well, that's a good one to end on. It's 4:00.
I want to commit suicide going backwards on a.
Yeah. because that's something that people could relate to around
Right,
NASCAR.
some- Yeah. Oh.
But you were listening to Average Rants here, KNMC
90.1.
FM.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ew, that was gross.